Hello everybody, look what has arrived. This is my Rose and Tantau standard rose tree order. So anyone that has seen my previous videos will know I had some issues with previous shipments. They came and they had rose gall, so I got rid of them and I refused to plant them. So I thought, let me order from a different location. So this is Schöne Maid, if my German pronunciation is anywhere close. I think that means beautiful woman in German. I did do German for 3 years at school, but I can't say I really remember much, if I'm honest. So just inspecting the roots, they look pretty good. I can't see any signs of tumours or weird cauliflower issues like I had seen on the ones that came from previous suppliers. And then this one is Eisvogel, which I believe means kingfisher in English. So this is quite a pretty one. It looks a little bit like a deeper version of Astacia Vi, but a little bit more frilly. And this is supposed to have quite a tropical scent. So we'll see. This cane is obviously slightly broken, it's wobbly there. So I'll just trim that one off, and the one that's kind of awkwardly growing through, I'll trim that off to a lower node and hope that it grows out to the side. But all in all, yeah, pretty good. They do seem to trim their roots back quite a lot more than other suppliers do. These are quite small now, although the benefit of that is that they will fit into a slightly smaller pot, so that is probably good for now. And then what I'll do now is just mix up some of this Fertilome Fireblight spray into this bucket of water. So I'm just going to add about 2.5 tablespoons of this powder into this water, and then that will be what I use as a dip. So this is not the water that I will use to hydrate the roses for the next 24 hours. This is literally just a dip to kill any potential rose gall bacteria that could be on the surface of the rose, depending on how the conditions are where they've come from. It could be some soil that's on the surface. It could be that the rose was laying on top of another rose that had an issue. But this is just me taking extra precaution just to ensure that I do not introduce any gall to my garden. So this won't kill any gall that is already infected inside the rose, any rose that's already infected by the gall, I should say. This will only kill the bacteria that is on the surface of the rose. So once the rose is infected, it becomes systemic, so it will be all throughout the rose in all the cells. So you can't kind of trim off a cutting from the top if it's just at the root because you think it's separate. It won't work like that. It's in the rose. And then here, this is a little bag that Tantau sent. That's quite cute, isn't it? So they sent one of these durable shopping bags to stop you buying plastic bags at the supermarket. So that's quite a nice touch. It wasn't necessary, but nice and sweet. So here is me. I am just turning the roses over and dipping whatever part of the rose will fit in the bucket into the bucket. So obviously I can't dip the stems in there. If I was really OCD about the whole thing, I could probably lay the roses down and then pour this bucket over the stems as well. But I am not going to do that because I don't want this mix all over my patio when I have animals. So I will just use it as a dip. The canes in there are just the bits that I trimmed off, say any kind of dead, disease, damaged crossing stems. I've just neatened them up a little bit. It's not the proper prune that I would do in spring, down to nodes facing in directions that I want them to face. This is just a little tidy. So just in terms of the two roses, so Schöne Maid, it looks a little bit like the Anik rose to me, one of the David Austin roses that was discontinued. But to me, the Anik doesn't really smell of much. I know some people smell raspberry, but to me, I don't get it at all. So to get the kind of beautiful form and flower of the Anik rose, but with a good, decent, strong perfume, which this is supposed to have, is a good combination for me. So I'm really excited about this one, especially. And then the other one, Eisvogel. So Astacia Roy, I find, can bleach out a little bit in the sun and become quite pale and uninteresting. So if this is a little bit deeper, I'm kind of hoping it will retain more of its colour when it gets very, very sunny in the summer. So here I am just refilling the bucket with some fresh water. And this is the water that I will use to hydrate the roses over the next 24 hours. And then I will come back the next day and then I'll get them planted. So I've got lots to do inside the house at the moment as well. So I'm kind of running in, running out, running in, running out. We're doing some painting projects and stuff. So there's no time to waste. I need to get everything ready for spring because I want to spend more time in the garden. It's much more fun to be doing gardening jobs than house jobs. So, well, I think so. I enjoy that anyway. But yeah, anyway, so these will just hydrate and then they will be planted in some root prune pots that I actually ordered from a supplier. So the idea of the root pruning pots is that the roots don't become root bound in the pot. They grow out of the side of the pot because there are holes, and the air prunes those roots down because obviously they can't survive exposed to the air, which then stimulates more roots to come from the centre. So you end up with a thicker root ball. And then this is the following day. Here they are planted in those root pruning pots. And as you can see, Schöne Maid is probably about 3 inches taller than Eisvogel. The stem sizes are slightly different, but not an issue. And because those roots were trimmed right down, I could fit them in these kind of smaller pots. So that works for me because when it comes to planting them, there's less issue to deal with, less heavy soil and stuff that I need to rip out of the pot. So I'm looking forward to spring and all of your beautiful roses in your videos. Happy gardening, everybody.